Hi guys, in this tutorial I'm going to be sharing with you guys how to create a single twist technique. So we're going to go ahead and start the twisting process. The first thing you want to do before you actually put in the twist, you wanted to have worked out exactly how the finished look is going to be. Because if you know that your look has a side parting or middle parting, or maybe it doesn't have a parting, you just want to position the hair in the way that you actually envision the style looking and sitting when you actually complete the look. So for my model's hair, I'm actually going to give it a deep side parting on the left hand side here, so we have a little bit more of the hair framing the face towards the right hand side. You can work out how far you want to take the parting and how deep you want to actually see the parting, okay? Because once you put in the twist, whatever position your twists are falling in, if you try and go in and put your sectioning with your parting after you've actually put the twist, then it can actually mess up the style and you can disturb the finished result that you would have created. So you want to establish the parting in the hair before you start, okay? So once we've done that, we can then proceed and actually do our twisting. Before I go into the twisting, I just want to quickly explain the technique itself, why we're doing this kind of technique, what we're hoping to achieve with this look. So we are creating a single twist technique, and once the hair has been set and dried, we're going to do a twist out on the hair. So this is a technique that you can do for maybe two reasons. Someone wants a protective style and they just want to give their hair a break. They might put their hair in this sort of style where you twist the hair, and if that's the case, this is a style that can be kept in the hair for anything between 2 to 4 weeks. Also, we can also use this technique as a natural setting technique, because naturally afro hair doesn't have a curl, it's more coiled textured hair. So if you wanted to create a look where you wanted to create curls or you wanted to see waves in the hair, essentially this is a method we could use to then bring you to that look and style that you want to see in the hair. So for what we're doing with Lyciana's hair, we're actually going to do the single twisting technique for a twist out style. When it's finished, it's going to create more like an S-shaped wave in the hair than what you see currently on the hair as you look at it. So for that reason, in terms of the size of the twisting that we're going to do, they don't have to be too small and they don't have to be too large. If you're going with more like a medium to a slightly large size, it will produce the wave and the finish that we want in the hair. You also have to take into account the length of the person's hair and the volume of their hair in terms of how thick their hair is. If someone's got very fine hair texture, you're naturally going to go more for like a small to a medium size with your twist. If someone's got very thick hair, you can get away with going a little bit more larger on the size of the twist that you actually create. So with Lyciana's hair, she actually has a really great hair density and also volume in the hair. So her hair is quite naturally, individually the strands, they are naturally thick, but she has a lot of hair. So for that reason, when I actually decide to do the twist size that I'm going to go for, I can actually go for more like a medium to a large size. You can also play around with the positioning of your twist in terms of how you can either do one twist a little bit more on the larger side and the other one is more medium. Because naturally, if you look at someone with natural wavy hair or curly hair, the size of the wave or the curl is not always exactly the same. Some curls might be slightly smaller, some wave might be smaller, and some on the larger side. So you can actually create that within the style that you're working in, so it looks a little bit more natural. So I'm probably going to alternate some of the sizes that I'm actually going to do. I'm going to go ahead and section her hair into 3 sections. So if I just turn her around, you'll be able to see with your sectioning, with the line itself, they don't have to be straight. I'm just sectioning this out so it just makes it easier to work in sections without the hair being completely out, okay? Because we want our lines to not necessarily be too defined, because we're going to do this for a twist out method. That means that we don't want to see very sharp, blunt lines, because then you have to work a little bit more to actually cover up any gaps that you would have created with your sectioning technique. So I'm just sectioning this out, and then we just start to twist the hair per section. Okay, so once the hair is sectioned out, in terms of my comb now that I like to use, this is a styling comb, and it's also a cutting comb, and I use it for a lot of different things. But I essentially use this because of the gap that we have here. It makes it easier to actually section out the hair. If you didn't have one of these combs, you can use any other comb that you might have in your kit, but I would recommend one that's got a slightly wider gap here. It makes it easier with your sectioning techniques. If you didn't have that, the other option would be to use a pintail comb. That can also work really, really well, okay? But I am going to go ahead and use, this is a cutting comb, which is also a styling comb as well. So that's what I'm going to be using. Now, I mentioned the products that we're using for this styling, and I've already put the ones that we use for the blow drying process. But for the twisting, I'm actually going to be using, this is the Flora & Curl Twist and Braid Cream. Your products for your styling technique for the twist, they have to be specifically designed for twisting. So for example, I use the Charlotte Mensa hair pomade, which is a cream for moisturizing. I wouldn't use that product for twisting because it's not designed for that. It's designed for the styling process before you blow dry or during you blow dry the hair as well. But your products for your twisting technique, they will literally say twist on the product itself. As you can see, this one is literally saying twist and braid cream, so we know that's what we're going to use it for. So the product itself, we're going to apply this per section as we go. You're not going to apply all over the whole head. You're literally just going to apply per section. The products for twisting, they're designed to lightly wet the hair down slightly. So even if after we've done our blow drying on the hair to smooth it out, the products that we're using, they have to wet the hair slightly because this is a form of like a natural setting technique that we're using, okay? So that's why you have to use specific creams that would create that effect that we want in the hair as well. So that's also why you need to apply this per section as you go, because if I was to apply this all over, it's going to wet the hair down, and then you notice the hair will start to slightly kink back to its natural texture, not excessively back to how it was originally before the blow drying, but there'll be a slight kink that you see in the hair. But you don't want that to happen before you actually start the process of twisting, because the twisting is going to help to stretch out the hair and maintain that stretched out look and finish on the hair. So that's why you have to apply this per section as you go, okay? So starting from the back here, in terms of the sectioning, because this is going to be for a twist out style, I don't have to worry so much about how clean or defined my sections are actually going to be. And with the sectioning technique that I like to actually create for this, it's more like a horseshoe kind of shape, as you can see there. Instead of going for like straight lines, you want to create more this kind of shape. This sits a little bit better because when we do the twist out, everything will blend in a little bit easier. And also I'll be doing more like a brick setting technique. Instead of going for like very sharp lines and placement of the hair, you want to create more like a brick layered technique, so your sections kind of fall in between each other. So that's the method we're going to be using, and this is kind of like the size that I'm going to be working with here. So this will be my first section here. So I'm just going to demonstrate how to actually put the products in the hair and how to do the twisting. I'll do two sections first to explain how to use the products and also how to do the twisting in terms of like your tension that you want to apply in the hair as you're doing your twisting as well. So I'm just going to take a small amount of cream, and this I'll just put at the back of my hand here. It's just easier to just leave a little bit at the back of your hand. So based on the size that I'm working on here now, I'm just going to take about this amount here, and then this will just be applied throughout the section, okay? So when you apply the product, you want to start in from closer to the roots, and then you want to work your way down through the hair there, okay? So we don't need to put too much, but you want to put enough that you start to feel that the hair is slightly wet from the product being in there, okay? Because if we don't put enough, this is not going to form and hold the way that we want to. These products are designed to not only hold the twist shape, but also to moisturize the hair. And especially if someone's going to keep this in for a while, you want the hair to be really, really moisturized. So with the twisting technique is, The way you do this, you section the hair out into 2 sections, okay? And essentially you just have the hair crossing over each other. Now, depending on whether you're left-handed or right-handed, I'll explain how you would want to do this process here. But the first thing to notice, you need to separate the hair into 2 sections, just as I did there. You're going to slightly pre-twist the hair. If you don't pre-twist the hair, the twist is not going to hold, because what you're not doing is just taking the hair and then just crossing it over each other, just like that. Okay, once you've pre-twisted the right-hand section, I'm just going to take the left-hand section. I'm going to pre-twist the same thing that we did on the right-hand section here. We pre-twisted clockwise. We'll do exactly the same thing for the left-hand section. So always remember, whether you're left-handed or right-handed, whatever way or direction you decide to pre-twist the hair, you need to ensure that you do the same thing for both of the sections. So I'm just pre-twisting slightly on the left-hand section here. So once these 2 sections are pre-twisted, what you're going to do is you're going to take the section on your right hand side, you're going to cross it over to the left, and it always crosses on top of the left hand section. So not under, but over, okay? So pre-twist slightly, you twist over, you pre-twist, and then you twist over. Because this is for a twist out, you don't want your pre-twist to be too tight, but you don't want it to be too loose at the same time. So you notice that only twist this round once, just gently, and then I twist it over. Just twist it once and then twist it over. So I'm intentionally leaving it a little bit more looser than what I might do if I was doing this for a twist that is going to be worn as a style that someone would keep in for at least 2 to 4 weeks. So you continue that process all the way through to the ends of the hair. Once you get to the towards the ends of the hair there, you might likely need to add a little bit more of the cream, because these are the areas where it might go a little bit more dry. So you're just going to add a little bit more product, and then you just continue to pre-twist the hair, and then you twist over. Try your best to get to the very ends. Now, because her hair was freshly trimmed, it might not hold the pre-twist, it might not hold the twist itself completely without coming undone. But it's not coming out that much. At this point, I don't feel the need to put an elastic band, but if you're working on someone's hair that you feel that if you don't hold it with something at the ends, it's going to come out, you can put a small elastic band on there. But with her hair being type 4 hair, it's holding nicely, so I don't have to worry about that. So just ensure you put your products in, you really do a nice twist, because if your twist is not nicely defined, as you can see here, by the time you do your taking out, your wave result that you achieve on this style is not going to look as defined as you might want it to, and it might not last as long as you need it to. So just ensure that the actual twisting that you've done is very much defined, and you can actually see the shape forming and everything looks nice and neat, okay? So I'm just going to go ahead and do the full twisting process. This normally takes about, because of the size that I'm doing, I would say for the full head styling, as you can see here, it's probably going to take me about 30 to 35 minutes just to put the twist in because of the size. But if I was doing this maybe half of the size of what you see here, I would say it might take maybe about 50 minutes to an hour to do a full head of twist, especially if someone's going to keep this as a style that they're going to wear for like 2 to 4 weeks. You want to make sure that everything looks really, really nice and neat. You don't want to do it too large, because the larger your sections are, the less tidy is going to stay in that state in terms of how long it's going to hold, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and actually do the twisting now.